Happy Wednesday, everybody. Before we get too started, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Everybody can see me in the background. Let's see here. Oh, I need the chat window. Give me just a moment here. Oh. I guess my chat's not going to work today. Interesting. There we go. All right. When it starts going, when will we see the market go down? All right, can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Everyone's making their way in. The alert's about to hit here any minute. Hope everybody's having a good day today. We can hear you. Perfect. Thank you, Norman. All right, see the market not doing so well today. Now, if this is your first time joining, this is going to be the fourth installment of the VectorVest Power Hour. So essentially what we do is I'm going to give you an example watch list, both good stocks, bad stocks, go over our proprietary indicators, show you how easy they are to understand, how you can utilize them to profit even more money in the market. And then I'm going to take stock picks from you guys and gals. So, all right, Joe, got you. Canada cut its key lending rate by 0.5% today. Ooh, I'm not too surprised by that. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the software here. All right. Let's get to it. Like I said, the market's not looking too good today. We see the Dow Jones down 378, NASDAQ down 209. Some of that's all very interesting yesterday in the color guard before we get to the stock picks. Here at VectorVest, especially if you're new, this is your first time ever watching one of these videos, always want to say thank you for checking us out. But yesterday we had a little bit of indecision, right? We had a red light in the price column of the VectorVest composite. That's how we track the broad market. We analyze over 9,000 stocks. It's like combining, the S&P, the Dow Jones, the Russell, the NASDAQ, all that stuff into one, plus a lot of extra good things. We see a little diversion between the red light and the green light of the RT. But today looks like we got the adverse effect of that. We got the RT down, giving us a red light right now. So, like it says at the top, I can't be a big advocate of buying stocks at this time. So anything we talk about today, again, today's not the best day to be buying. So give me stocks that either, you're thinking about taking profits from, maybe some losers that you may have. Don't need all your winners. But this will give us opportunities to analyze these stocks and see what opportunities might present themselves in the future. So that's being said, let's get to it. We're going to go right to the viewers tab. And these are the stocks I've got for you here. All right, we got NVIDIA at the top of the list, Tesla, Boeing, and Fibrobiology. Now, we see your price action. They're all down today, right? First thing I want to talk about is the price to value. This gives you a sense if you're paying a premium for your stock, if you're getting a good deal on it. Now, we see here NVIDIA, 139. It is undervalued right now. 141 is what we come to. Tesla, on the adverse effect, look, it's trading at $214 right now. We only value the stock at $43. Another great example of overvalued stock, Boeing, $154. We value the stock at only $24. So it gives you a sense that investors are paying a premium right now for these two positions. And down below, I do have Fibro. You can see also overvalued as well, currently trading at $270. The stock's only valued at 22 cents. Now, all of these stocks are down today. If we take a look at RV and RS, these are our fundamental indicators. Now, I don't expect you to remember all of these definitions. I'm going to show you exactly where to find these definitions in the software, but just want to give you, a general sense of some of the main indicators we'll be discussing in today's presentation. Now, as far as RV, this looks at long-term price appreciation compared to an alternative investment in a AAA corporate bond. So it gives you a sense, hey, should I buy this stock for the long haul in the next 1 to 3 years? Or should I just buy a AAA corporate bond? Which one is more likely to make me money? And you see NVIDIA is the only stock on the list here set to outperform a AAA corporate bond over the next couple years. And if we take a look at RS, relative safety, this is our other fundamental indicator. We've got two favorable ratings here, two unfavorable ratings. Again, if you're new to VectorVest, these indicators are all on a 0 to 2 scale. They oscillate at the point of 1. So that's going to be the neutral point. So anything above 1 is favorable rating, right? Anything below 1, unfavorable. The further you get away from 1 speaks to the magnitude of that favor. Now, RS, pretty straightforward. It's an indicator of risk, right? Just like what the word safety is. It looks at things like debt to equity ratio, the company's longevity, things of that nature. Give you a sense, is it a safe stock, right? Now, the next item, RT, relative timing. This is our technical indicator. Just gives you a sense if the stock is trending up, trending down, or is neutral. Now, RT relative timing, we got NVIDIA, the only favorable rating here. So I know the stock is trending up right now. It's got some, magnitude or momentum behind that trend. While Tesla and Boeing, they're trending down, right? And you can see a little bit of momentum, not as strong as NVIDIA's upside momentum. But if you go to FBLG, I mean, this thing, I don't even have to look at the chart. I could just assume that it's probably been dropping like a rock over the last 6 months. We're going to take a look at the chart, see if that holds up. But now these stocks are in order by VST. The reason why NVIDIA is at the top of the list, it's got the highest combination of overall value, safety, and timing, or the 3 columns before it, right? So this is our master indicator. Just gives you a general sense if the stock is, good, fundamentally sound stock, if it's trending higher, trending lower. Oh, thank you, Joy for You. Appreciate your super chat. Give me a stock symbol. Well, we're doing that all day today, at least for this stream, right? I will definitely, put some W's in the room. Appreciate that, Joy for You. Now, again, it's always good. I like going back to the indicators, right? Because you can have VectorVest 7 system for years, but if you don't really know what these indicators mean and how to really utilize them, you're not getting the full benefit of the program. So again, whether you've been with us for a long time or you're brand new to the channel, again, I'm just glad that you joined for today's session. So that way we can just, put some more ammunition, some more tools in your belt, so that way you can make money. All right, appreciate you. Let's see here. We got 188 people in the room. Thank you. Who all is new in the room? Put a 1 in the room if this is your first time. And then once we get all the 1s, I'm going to ask everyone to put a 2 in the room if you've been using the VectorVest 7 software and if it's making you money. So that way we get a sense of who's new in the room and who's been here a while. So, put some 1s in the room. If you're new to the channel, give it just a moment. And we're going to put 2s for those people that have been with us for a while and making money, right? But you can see how simple the software is. Just with these 4 stocks, I get a sense that NVIDIA is really the only one that's fundamentally sound. NVIDIA is the only one that's trending up right now. It's clearly the best pick in the list. So even if you don't know about NVIDIA, right? Even if you didn't know what NVIDIA was, which you'd have to be living under a rock to know what NVIDIA is. But you can see just with the data here, it's a phenomenal company. I mean, look, the sales growth rate 122, growth rate earnings 52. And no, I'm not trying to sell you on NVIDIA right now. I'm just trying to show you how the indicators, they can identify good stocks and they can identify bad stocks, right? Now, like I said, I'm not going to go over all these definitions. And if this is your first time, I don't expect you to remember all of these definitions. But if you are in the software, just simply right click on any stock you see. You'll get this view full stock analysis report, right? Click on that. We get the definitions here. And this is where it's at. This is where it's at. It doesn't really matter which stock. I always recommend you print out at least one of these. That way you can just, have something to read. It's always nice to have that physical copy and get more familiar with the definitions. Because once you get familiar with how to really, understand these indicators, I mean, the sky is the limit. And I'll be honest and say that. Now, as I scroll down, it breaks down all of the definitions. It tells you if it's a good rating, how it's exactly computed. For example, the safety, right? Looks at the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance, debt to equity ratio, sales volume, business longevity, price volatility, and some other factors, right? We can't give away the special sauce, but it gives you a general breakdown of what these indicators are looking at. Now, if you're not a VectorVest subscriber and it's your first time watching it, just go to VectorVest.com. You can go on our website, take out a trial. I think it's either 99 cents or $9.95, depending if there's a special. But you get 30 days to the software, so you get time to really utilize it, see if it's something for you. Otherwise, if you don't want to commit to the trial, just go to VectorVest.com/FSA. That's FSA, free stock analysis. Just go to VectorVest.com/FSA. You get like 3 stock picks in a single day. I think like 5 to 7 overall. So you get, put in stocks that you're interested in, see what the VectorVest 7 software says about it. And go from there. Check out the trial. We got the YouTube channel, plenty of resources to really figure out if VectorVest is for you before committing. But we've had a lot of people here. You can see with 177 people in the room right now, a lot of people believe in the software. I've been here since 2014. Let's see here, ENPH to buy. Enphase Energy. We'll take a look at Enphase Energy. We'll definitely take a look at that one. But looking at the room here, we've got a lot of 1s, a lot of new people here. Andy, John, Lawrence, Free Jeff, I like that one. And a lot of twos in the room as well. So again, thanks for joining. We've got a lot of live streams today. Me and Glenn, we are on at 2 p.m. today. So if you like what you hear here and you want to, you want to listen to Glenn, for those that have watched him, he's pretty entertaining. We'll be together at 2. And then today we actually are doing a live earnings stream for Tesla. That'll be this afternoon, right around the earnings call. So stick around, subscribe to the channel. If you like to talk about stocks, that's all we talk about here. We're pretty non-biased. That's why we utilize the software. I mean, these algorithms, our founder, Dr. Alito, but they have their roots going back to the 80s. So we're not some kind of, fly-by-night, sell you some stocks people. No, we've been here for a long time. I have not, well, kind of now, just over 10 years now. So it's becoming a long time. And I love it. I love what I do here. VRT earnings this morning. Troy, I want to look at that. When we get to the stocks, and we're actually about to do that in just a second. Let me go ahead and switch over here. All right, go ahead and type in your stock symbols. We're going to start with, say, 20 stocks. We'll start with 20, make our way down the list. It's 11:40, so we should have time to hit some stocks today. We're going to be pretty quick, pretty effective. And I'm going to add VRT. That's Vertiv Holdings. If you don't know, Thursdays, I do a 6 p.m. video every Thursday, semiconductor stocks. This was one of the stocks I recommended, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was it? I think it was 2 Thursdays ago. All right, we got some stocks going in here. Marcus, I like how the first stock is NVIDIA, even though I just talked about it. But hey, NVIDIA, I love it. Anytime NVIDIA is under our valuation, taking a nibble, buying a couple shares, not the worst idea. All right, we got DFIN. I can already tell you might have gotten that from Glenn. If you've been watching the channel, he's been on DFIN. It's an ETF for defense stocks. We got Bison, PSI. That's what I like to see. Stocks that I'm not too familiar with here. We got Dell, BLDR. What's going over here? All right, we got Snell. If you're looking at semiconductors, I'm surprised someone hasn't put in AMD yet in the list. They're reporting earnings next week. And I see a lot of tech and AI names in here. I'll tell you right now, AMD's got the power to move these companies, just like NVIDIA or Taiwan Semiconductor. If I had to say, I'm feeling pretty bullish on them overall going in. I know they just released their new M300, 350 series. The AI chip, they just had a show about it. Their AI display, that was 2 weeks ago or last week. That was right around the same time as Tesla's robo-taxi. So we got NXPI, MU. A lot of semiconductors are coming in the list here. So if you like semiconductors, you should definitely watch Thursday's video. That's all we talk about. ARM. You know me, I'm a Janus. I love ARM. I've been talking about that since it's broke its downward trend line back in like the 50s, the mid 50s. That thing's been soaring. Mom puts in AMD. Hey, I gotta, I had my mom in AMD for a while. SMCI. Put that in there. Let's see how many stocks we got. I typed in a ton. We've got we've got 15. We got a couple more here. We got BABA, SCHW, SLV, Lunar. All right, we got silver. We got all kinds of stocks. I like that. We got all kinds of industry. Heavy on the semiconductors, but here we go. We got industry sector here. A lot of semiconductors. We got some machinery, retail, financial. We got Charles Schwab, commodity ETF here, a silver ETF, NXPI, internet. We got Alibaba, some Chinese, Snowflake. Yeah, I like what I see here. We got 20 style, 18 found. Let me find 2 more on the list here. Lunar. Did I put AMD in the list? Yep, I did put AMD. So we got IESC. Tesla. All right, I'm going to steal a couple of these. We got EME, MCore, ELF. Hey, ELF. ELF is hot. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I am curious to what it is. I would not sleep on ELF because, I'm not an expert at makeup, but from what I hear, because I always, if I'm not an expert on something, I always ask people. So generally I ask, ladies I knew who are familiar with ELF. They said they swear by that product. They said it's high quality, the cheapest price you're going to find. I know they had a partnership with Ulta. That was like a year or two ago. That's really what pushed the stock higher. But I'm excited. This is a great list here. NVIDIA, once again, at the top of the list. So, I'm probably not going to say too many bad things about NVIDIA. Let's be honest here. Let's go back to the homepage. Again, look, down 300, down 181. So I can't stress this enough. I'm not an advocate of buying right now. I'm not an advocate of buying right now. Even if I go home, any industries that are up top? Nope. Industries, banks, mining down, gold is down. So tonight's video is on gold. Just throwing that out there as well. Tonight's video will be on gold stocks. And I've got some interesting gold plays. Not your typical ones. I've got some of the, I've got some dividends, some high RS stocks, more conservative plays. But I got some high flying penny stocks. I got one stock that just entered the database 4 days ago. The valuation was like twice what it was trading. So definitely check that out. ELF is cheap, Linda says. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm not gonna give you my opinion on how, I have no problem outsourcing, opinions that can actually, matter, right? And from what I hear from the ladies I've talked to, ELF has great products, at great prices. All right, so let's graph these here. So before we do that, say we got 20 stocks here. Well, we got 23. So let me just switch this to 25 so we can see all of them. Now, show you a little trick here. I like doing this for Power Hour. It really is a great trick, especially if you're new to the software and you got headaches in your portfolio. This is the one trick I can show you. If you got some headaches right now, right? Remember I told you VST, that's the default sort. We're going to treat this like your portfolio, right? So anytime someone starts, subscription here at VectorVest, the first thing we want you to do is put your stocks into a watch list. It's just easier to analyze them, right? So say these stocks were yours, our portfolio. This is a group portfolio today, right? First thing I'm going to do in the software, I'm going to click on RT relative timing, right? The ones at the top of the list, Lunar. Oh God, what's Lunar doing today? We'll take a look. And if you don't know, that's the moon rover. We'll see what they're doing. If with RT 1.69, this is news related. Now, the stocks at the top right here, again, RT looks at short-term price trend, right? If I own a bunch of stocks, I'm bullish on them, and they've got RTs above 1, typically they're trending higher, right? Not the stocks I necessarily need to focus on. I want to focus on my losers. So as I scroll down the list, look, I got 2 losers in the group. I got Power Solutions, but you notice RTs, especially right here, Alibaba, everything below 1, that's probably costing you money. Unless you did some bottom fishing, you just bought these stocks, doing some bottom fishing. But if you are holding these stocks, these are causing you some pain. Put some ones in the room if these stocks are causing you some pain right now and you want some answers. And I give non-biased answers. Sometimes you just got to cut it off. I'm going to give you some support levels. I'm going to look at trend lines. I'm not going to go off the news and whether I like the stock or not. No, I'm very non-biased. I'm going to go off what the VectorVest 7 software is telling me, and I'm going to go off what the chart's telling me. Once you combine the two, then you've got a real strong picture. Should I be in the stock? But I can already tell you the software is telling me anything NXPI or lower, again, unless you just probably recently bought it, doing some bottom fishing. Otherwise, it's causing you a headache, right? And we don't want that. Ones. Yeah, well, there's some ones, right? So, again, sometimes we gotta have some tough conversations on the live stream. But let's get into the charts here. We got 23 stocks. This is the 3rd Power Hour I've done, and I would say I'm probably most excited about this list of stocks just because it really such a diverse list of stocks. Now we're gonna switch our graph layout here. I've got some technicals, 3, 8, 20-day EMA. I've got some forecasted data, but we're gonna go to VectorVest Simple, right? Here's the VectorVest Simple graph layout. This back here, this big pop, this is when the rover was first going to the moon. This big down candlestick, from what I remember correctly, the rover tipped over. Something happened, and you can see the news faded away, stock retraced. But this thing's on a run right now, right? And look, over on the right, our indicators we're going to look at. We got our stop price. So anytime the price action of the candlesticks gets below this blue line, you see the sales come into play, right? Now this blue line, it's the 13-week moving average adjusted for the company's fundamentals. So Lunar, I'm going to probably just assume probably doesn't have the best fundamentals just because I could see a negative earnings per share over there on the right, and it's overvalued. So it's tightened up, right? We're not going to give it that much wiggle room because, you know, just as quickly as this high flyer goes up, it can come back down, right? So, you know, we lost the hold. We lost the sell rating around here. Oh, let me use a date line. That sell, so the close was 239, right? By the time we got our next sell, the stock more than doubled at $5. So if you know, the sell recommendation is very, very powerful. And as of late, let me look, the stock's got some little bit of buys popping up now. Now, again, this stock, very news driven. You see RT relative timing. It is favorable right now. But look at the earnings per share. And by the way, our EPS is not what you're going to see in the broker. It's the leading 12-month forecast. And you can see earnings per share is on the rise, but it's still negative, right? So this is, I'm going to say, more of a swing trade or play. Whoever recommended this, you know, I like to keep things simple. There's your trend line, right? Because once we break this trend line, if price action were to break it, there's a gap to fill, right? So if I'm breaking this trend line and there's a gap to fill, that would be bad. So that's why I'm going to use that trend line as my stop. But overall, the stock itself, this is a very speculative play here. Are there any earning reports you're excited about that are coming up soon? Well, Ben, we've got Tesla this evening, and Tesla's at a make or break standpoint. I mean, the company is so overvalued. I'm interested to see what happens there. As far as next week, we've got AMD, and then next Wednesday is Meta and Microsoft after the bell. So honestly, if you look on the earnings calendar for the next 2 weeks, there are so many big names about to be reported. So if you see volatility in your portfolio over the next 2 weeks, don't say I didn't warn you. Because with these big names coming out, especially, you know, from the stocks you guys gave me, you like tech, you like semiconductors, and those are the big names that are about to set to report. So just look at the earnings. There's a lot of big names out there. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of big names over the next 2 weeks. But as far as Lunar, it's an uptrend right now. This is going to be more off technicals. You know, would I buy Lunar as some kind of long-term, investment? Well, let's tell you right now. Let's see here. Lunar, RV, 0.32, right? That is our long-term indicator. That tells you, should I buy a AAA corporate bond or is this stock a better investment, right? This is telling me this is not a good long-term investment. This is a risky long-term investment. This is a take your profits and run kind of scenario. Don't get left holding the bag because you saw this guy drop astronomically within a very short period of time. So if you get emotional or if you're an emotional trader, probably not for you. All right, we got VRT. This is a stock I gave you guys, about 2 weeks ago, I think that was, in a video. We've talked about it before on the channel, as it was running up, but you can see here, freehand line, broke its downward trend line, retested it, and right around here is, I think, when I did the video, when it started going back up, but it broke its previous high. We got a buy rating. Obviously, today, again, the market's pulling back. There's probably not going to be a single stock out of any of these that I'm like, go out and buy it today. I'm going to tell you that right now. But what I do like, look at that bottom wick. The open is higher than the close. Even though it gapped down today, the buyers are showing up. I like what I see here. Let's see. And they had earnings today. That's right. Someone mentioned, that's right. They did have earnings this morning. Let's see what the 1 day is like. So there's the shoot up. So it gapped down. There's the shoot back up. And now it's back down. Yeah, I can't get behind it right now. Not with this momentum to the downside as far as intraday. If you're in this position, I don't really see a big need to run out and sell it right now. We haven't even gotten to a hold yet. So even though the price action is down for the last couple of days, you could, if we see some weakness, if we see the buy go to hold, that's going to be your first warning sign. Our stop price is at $93 right now. We're currently trading around 108. So yeah, we do have some room. So, if you don't like that kind of wiggle room, again, there's probably going to be a level of support around here. Yeah, just above that. I'm thinking around 95. Maybe even treat this as a zone here. There's the zone. You can see right at the top of the zone we're seeing buying pressure. But other than that, I mean, RT on the rise. Earnings per share, nice lower left, upper right. Love what I see here. I like it. I like it. The valuation, it is overvalued. $68, right? If you ever hear me talk about value on this, our valuation, it's stringent. We are not going off the news and the hype of AI stocks and semiconductors, how hot they are. No. There's an exact formula. There's a YouTube video on it, like an hour long. Our founder, very mathematical formula, and it's stringent. So a lot of semiconductors can be overvalued. That's why I always say when you find an undervalued semiconductor, especially one of the big names, AMD, NVIDIA, things of that nature, don't sleep on it because those opportunities don't last too long. When we get to those charts, you'll see what I'm talking about. But the valuation on the rise. So it is overvalued, right? We don't use our valuation when it comes to the buy recommendation because we understand there are opportunities in overvalued stocks. Investors are paying a premium for it. It could be a lot of hype. That's why I'm saying AI stocks, a lot of them tend to be overvalued, right? But if I'm going to get into an overvalued stock, value better be on the rise because I don't want to see just a flat line or value on the decline. That's not what I want to see. So if I'm in an overvalued stock, I want to see value on the rise, which this stock qualifies for. Vertiv Holdings, if you don't know about it, I've done videos on it before in the past. There's a lot of great things happening with this company. All right, here we've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA I did a couple weeks ago. So the date line I'm going to put about right here. I think that's when I did the video. I said NVIDIA is back because I saw this breakout pattern getting ready to occur here. Pennant triangle, symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. But look, the stock undervalued during this consolidation point, right? That's why I was bullish on it. I think it was literally like the next day or within a few days later, you could see price action broke out to the upside. But NVIDIA, I mean, look at the valuation. Let me scoot this over here. Valuation 141. The stock's trading at 140, right? This is about as nice as it's going to get. The stock and the price action are just on the rise, both of them, right? And if you notice, NVIDIA, let me do a highlight here, was undervalued here, right? Great opportunity. Undervalued here, only lasted 2 days. Undervalued here, lasted a few days. Undervalued here, didn't last too long at all, right? You can see everyone saw the pennant pattern. NVIDIA, the bullish momentum is still there. So as far as NVIDIA, I'm still a believer in NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA is not going around anywhere. It's got a great valuation perspective. You can see the forecasted data down below, the earnings per share. I'm a believer in it. Am I going to buy it today with the market pulling back and on a down day? No, not per se. NVIDIA, it's hard to say. I do see a bottom wick here, but we've got a lot of big things happening. Obviously we got the election, right? We just mentioned it, some of the biggest earnings announcements happening over the next 2 weeks. So expect volatility. But I've said it before, NVIDIA or any other big AI names, typically when it goes undervalued, if you want to nibble it, I know most of you probably already own NVIDIA, but if you want to buy a little bit more when it's undervalued, not the worst idea. Just be careful, have a plan in place. Mike says, Palantir, okay, you don't like my stock. Prakash, CRM, IBM. Prakash, which one is yours? Because I took the stocks, but let's look at LRN. There's a lot of stocks. All right, let's get through these stocks. NVIDIA, we already know about NVIDIA. Undervalued, that's the key there. MCore, beautiful. I've heard of this company. I've never bought it personally. I've obviously seen people talk about it on the channel. Look at this, value on the rise. The stock price. This is why we like undervalued stocks. And this is the best example. See value on the rise, prices on the rise. Somewhere they try to meet in the middle, right? So I'd rather be in an undervalued stock where the price action has to rise to meet value in the middle, right? Rather than price action to drop in an overvalued situation. But look, value still on the rise. And this chart looks great. Earnings per share on the rise. RT relative timing. The trend is clearly in our favor. We value the stock at $626. You guys might want to write this one down. This is a beautiful stock chart here. Beautiful stock chart. We got IES Holdings. Same situation as before. Value on the rise. Price action on the rise. This is probably the best chart pattern in the VectorVest 7 software I can advocate someone getting into, is when value is on the rise, Price action's on the rise. And look, earnings per share, that's going to be the driver. We've said it here before, earnings is the fuel that's going to drive the stock price higher, right? And that's what investors really get. Are you really excited about companies that are losing money? No, you're excited about companies that are making money, that for the long haul. And this company here represents that. Maintenance and services, this building, it's been a hot industry as well, so I'm not too surprised. Today, we do have a pullback. I do like the buying pressure I'm seeing here. Oh, let me switch back to a Dateline. I do like this bottom wick here. If you were going to buy on a down day, I'd like to see price action at least just take out this upper wick, showing, the bulls are starting to take control. But otherwise, again, the market's down right now. So anything you buy, you're taking on a lot of unnecessary risk. All right, here we've got Boson. Let's see here. This one, undervalued as well. I mean, I would imagine some news coming out around this time. Earnings per share, flat, did go negative. I would say just flat in general here, the forecasted earnings per share. Relative timing. Now, relative timing here, if I use my Dateline, finally went into positive territory. So 257, right? Look at RT came back down, would have held us in the position, told us that the trend was still up, and then went back, right? So RT's doing an amazing job. As long as that RT stays above 1, the trend's in our favor. If I'm going to be, a stop on this position, I'm probably looking somewhere around here, just because if we get a new swing low, obviously that's going to be the definition of a downtrend forming. So I would 317, 364. Yeah, that would be a pretty decent stop as long as you're, something you're comfortable with. Otherwise, you use like a trailing stop. It seems like a high flying stock in general. So some kind of stop. I know stock and stop sound just alike, but some kind of stop that's just going to capture momentum, right? Let's see here. All right, here we got Dell. As you can tell, I've talked about Dell before. There's the consolidation, breakout to the downside. Now, if we look here, we see the trend line. It just broke its downward trend line. So I don't know if someone is bottom fishing on Dell. Question for Ryan: what would be the best entry and exit for IESC? Best is a relative term, lifestyle, because I don't know your goal. You look at a swing trade, day trade, long haul. But IESC, you know me, I use a 3, 8, and 20. So look at the chart pattern, look at the trend lines. But as far as Dell, this is my concern. I don't know who gave me Dell. We just broke this downward trend line, right? It's still undervalued. Still think, it's a computer maker, hot space to be in. RT is above 1 still, but just as a cautionary tale, we just broke this upward trend line, I should say. So if you did do some bottom fishing, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do, but I'd probably be taking or considering taking some off the table right now, especially if you profited. I mean, if you got here closer to 80 and now it's at 120, that's almost a 50% increase, right? Don't be too greedy. It's still above our stop price. And you could always, if you do take some off the table, if you see a buying opportunity, you can always reallocate those sources back into it, right? But that being said, we dealt undervalued. The buy ratings are starting to appear more frequently. So other than this, I mean, it's really close. Zoom into 3 month. Yeah, it just broke that trend line. That would be my concern. But you can see the bulls trying to stay above that trend line there. So you just see how that plays out. All right, so this is Direxion. This is a defense ETF. If we go to 1 year, this thing has been rocking and rolling. Nice, smooth, lower left to upper right. Obviously, with geopolitical concerns, everything, we all watch the news. We all know what's going on in the world today. Having a little bit of defense in your portfolio, I can't argue against it. I mean, I can't argue to have a little bit of that in your portfolio, especially the ETF. You're diversified right then and there, especially and with everything going on. You could see why. And look at the price chart. If you just want to get the noise out of it, just look at the price chart in general. It's an uptrend, clear uptrend, pull back today. RT relative timing still above 1. I like what I see here. This is a good one. Here we've got Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab, obviously we had the bottom fishing opportunity here. You see the earnings. Last earnings, gap down, right? This earnings, gap back up. Now, I will say I am kind of concerned about this. You see it stopped. We got 2 wicks right at that gap fill there. I don't really like what I see there as far as a pattern there. But we do have a bottom wick here. If I'm in it, that bottom wick, 69.81, at least, you know, if you're a trader or doing a swing trade on this, I'd put my stop in maybe right above that line, honestly, because if it goes right to 69.81, it's going to want to fill this gap, or it's going to be tempted to, right? But I'm seeing right now a nice full-bodied candlestick. If you're not already in it, I want to get above these wicks. I want to get out of this gap zone. This, as Glenn would say, this gapiosity, right? This is danger zone. I want to get out of this. So I don't want to be a buyer right here. I want to be a buyer with confirmation over it. Otherwise, if I'm in it and I'm a trader, really anything less than 69.81, I'd probably put a stop right around there. But as far as the forecasted data, EPS, it is on the decline over the last year. So this is one of the few stocks we've seen in the list so far with earnings per share on the decline. So as far as long-term longevity of the company, that would not longevity, but long-term position, this would be my concern. But as far as a buyer, get above 73.37. Otherwise, if I'm trading it, my stop's going to be around this level. All right, we've got silver, gold, commodities, uranium. It's all hot right now. Today's down day is not going to scare me away right now. If I could see horizontal line, yeah, I'm going to put level. Yeah, that was resistance. You can see the bulls as soon as it got a clear break over here. So I'm going to say 29.38. That'll be my cutoff point here. But still trending up, RT on the rise. It's not going to have forecasted data, the earnings per share, just because it's an ETF. I like what I see here. Silver. It's a safe haven asset. Again, with everything going on in the news, I'm not going to talk about it, but you know what's going on in the world today. Gold, silver, a lot of investors are flocking to these safe haven assets, and you can see that just in the reflection of the price. Gold hit a new high yesterday as well. DFIN dropped yesterday. Anyone know why? Lifestyle coach. If I had to guess, I don't like to assume, but I imagine some kind of news between Iran and Israel. Because I know Israel was going to go after Iranian oil fields, and then oil shot up. Then all of a sudden now they're not. Oil goes down. It's news driven. Usually if defense is going down, there's probably more likely of peace in the Middle East. And if defense is going up, then that likelihood of peace is probably going down. And that's how I'm going to assess that based off the news. That being said, let's see here. All right, silver again. It's hot. All right, here's Micron. We got semiconductor in play. Micron, it's got the buy rating. Again, this is going to be kind of, buying the dip strategy if you've been recently buying it. Otherwise, if you're a long-term holder and still holding it, nothing, no real too concerned for the long term. We found our bottom. Looks like our bottom came in around 80. Yeah, I would say around $85. Right now we're at 105. So that my first level is going to be right here. We see the gap. It tried to fill the gap, but not quite. It's right around $100. The next level is going to be 84. If I had to guess, the big tech earnings is going to affect Micron. They tend to kind of move in sync. So, if we get positive vibes from, these earning releases over the next week or two, some of these big companies, Micron's probably going to break out above this line of 110, right? So if you're not already in it, I'm looking at 110, any kind of confirmation. But right now, I see a triple top forming. That's never a good sign. So if you did do some bottom fishing, my first level would be around 99. But our stop price, right in between my two levels, give you a little buffer zone here, $96, right? So it's pretty tight on Micron right now. But we do see RT relative timing. If I use this date line, you see how RT, during that entire time, right? RT was below 1. Micron did a whole lot of nothing, right? So if you're in stocks, especially for the long term, and you see RT drop below 1, that's going to have some concerns, right? But the forecasted data, Micron's, it's one of the, the top semiconductor companies out there. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this. Well, I don't get political, so I'm not going to read that comment, McCaddy. Everyone knows. Lisa Watts of DFIN. One of the stocks did not do so well in earnings. Just news. Okay, so it's earnings. Gotcha. Oh, wait. Was it Lockheed Martin was yesterday? I think, or Raytheon. I think there was a big one. There was a big one that had earnings this week, and that would make sense. Okay, but like I said, earnings are gonna be huge over the next 2 weeks. It don't really matter. I was looking at the earnings count. It don't matter what industry or sector you might be hiding out in your portfolio, but all of look at the earnings. I mean, there's so many in so many different places, so many big companies. Just keep an eye on earnings, and if you're seeing volatility and you see noise in your portfolio, I'm going to give you a heads up. You're probably going to get some of that over the next 2 weeks. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, Micron, I like it. Bottom fishing, if you're not trying to buy a semiconductor at a high, Micron, not a bad idea. Today, again, not a buyer, right? My confirmation, and you see my 2 cutoff levels along with VectorVest, right? So let's scroll down. ARM Holdings, I love ARM Holdings. I've been an advocate of this I was back in the 50s. This stock has been jumping up. If you don't know what ARM does, they do ARM processors. They kind of essentially they compete with Intel and Nvidia's, Intel and AMD's x86 processor. Most commonly, they're used in smartphones. They have pretty much a monopoly on processors for smartphones. But look, we're still above the trend line. We're still above the VectorVest stop price. We still have the buy rating. So I'm not going to be, I'm not running for the hills right now. But just know we're getting close to being defensive. And again, I don't know when you bought it, right? I don't know your objectives. I don't know what your ROI is, right? Only you know where you're happy at. But right now, I'm going to say not huge concern, but we are getting really close to be concerned with ARM as far as being bullish, right? So if you got lucky and got down here around close to $100, and now it's around 143 and you're up 50%, you gotta ask yourself, are you happy with that, right? If it breaks this downward trend line, down horrible, yes, LMT. Okay, it was LMT. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Let's see here. Now we got Builder, BLDR. Building has been hot. This one, not so much lately. I'm going to say there's probably going to be some better choices in the space. The earnings per shares on the rise. The RT relative timing is dropping quite a bit here. If I just use a freehand line, look at that. And actually, during the same time period, RT dropped. And the price action is up. So we saw a bearish divergence occur during this time frame. You see that? RT's dropping, price action on the rise. And then eventually, it looks like that divergence is catching up. We're seeing this sharp sell-off. So can't be a buyer right now. If you're in it, I'm going to tell you that the downward, I'm not a fan. The buy just went to hold. I just mentioned that bearish divergence with RT. If you're in it, I'd protect profits. As far as being a buyer, between the market and what I see here, I'm not a buyer in it right now. Definitely not a buyer. Ryan, what kind of option trade can we look for? Tesla pre-earnings. Oh, man. I would see what the swing is going to be like. ARM looks like a head. So I noticed that too. Let me scroll back up to ARM real quick. Yeah. This would be the head. Shoulder, right? I noticed that. It's a weird shoulder because you only got one little wick up here and it's pretty spaced out. I did notice that yesterday. So I'm seeing a head and shoulders, rejection at the second shoulders. That's why I'm saying if we break this trend line, take your money and run. There's no point in stressing out in your portfolio. All right, here we've got Target. Target just released earnings. It gapped up. So obviously I like the sentiment there from that gap of its most recent earnings call. Buys, they're trickling in. We went back to hold. Not a whole lot going on. If I just use a horizontal. Look, it wanted to fill that gap. Every time it filled that gap, comes back up a little bit. But we're seeing a channel. Yep, clear channel. I want to see a breakout. I'm not going to speculate on being bullish or bearish. I need to see some direction here, right? So if I'm going to be a buyer right now, you could buy right now and, put a pretty tight stop on it. Make sure it stays in this channel. Otherwise, if you want confirmation, break out to the upside above the channel. Look at around 160. But with RT still in favorable territory, I know it's dropped off quite a bit, but the trend is still in our favor right now, even though it's weakening. And earnings per share is on the rise. I like this, but again, have some patience. I'm not seeing a clear sense of direction based on this. And with the gaps here, another gap here, I want to see some confirmation before pulling any kind of trigger on target. Small cap thoughts, too volatile, 3-8 just crossed, but trends still present on MPI for IWM. Oh, the Russell? Well, I'll take a look at the Russell. Here is AMD. Look at the valuation on AMD. It is once again undervalued. We can see very rarely does that happen. We can see the stock was greatly overvalued, but look, value is on the rise too. So that's what I was saying. When I find a stock that's overvalued, see, look, price action on the rise, overvalued. The valuation better be on the rise too. It better be doing something, something good. Now let's go back to 3 month. Now, if we look here, AMD, what's the first thing you see here, right? Let's go to 1 year. Here's the trend line. Looks like we got a clear trend line, right? Boom. Consolidation. We see it tightening up. We're right at the bottom of that. So again, we're undervalued right now, right at the bottom of this consolidation pattern. I'd want to see a breakout. The earnings call next week is going to give us a clear breakout. If I had to guess, after hearing TSM's earnings call, I'm going to say I'm bullish on AMD's earnings call. I'm going to say that right now. I don't know if we're going to get a huge pop. I'd have to do a little bit more research. I haven't quite prepared for that. It's probably going to be tomorrow night's video as well. Thursday night, do semiconductors. Probably going to be AMD. Let's be honest. So I won't talk on it too much, but look at the forecasted data. It's on the rise. I mean, their AI chips, their chips are in demand, right? NVIDIA can't make enough of them. So AMD's got to, step in, help fill that gap, right? Here we've got Alibaba, a lot of consolidation here, big jump up. It's very gappy on the way up. I know this was probably caused by the news of the Chinese stimulus, but look, the news has faded away and now it's downtrending. So if you happen to buy it below 90 or, really below 90, protect profits, right? Because we're seeing that the momentum in, this position here, clearly to the downside today, also, but look at the valuation. I don't like that. The valuation is not rising, right? It's flat. Actually, I think it's a little bit less than it was at the beginning of the year. If we use a date line, 47, 4709. Oh, wait, there we go. Yeah, 4709, 4702. So it did drop over the last year. Earnings per share, I had one little spike here. It's on the rise. As far as Alibaba, I can't get behind it right now. With the momentum to the downside, way overvalued. As far as any kind of level support, probably right around it here. Sounds about right. You've got a little bit of ways to go, around $86. So you've got some more downside action. Our stop price could be right above that at $89.27. All right, here we've got NXPI. So this is what I don't want. Look, valuation. Got a little, see here, freehand line. See valuation on the decline. Price action on the decline. Sell ratings have been given, right? Here's the first sell rating. The close was at 247. Right now it's trading at 237. We're back to a hold. You can see our stop price here. If you're thinking about bottom fishing all day, buying the dip here, I do like that it's undervalued, but yeah, probably the prior low. I make a little zone here, but if it breaks this support zone, and we're not far from that, so you can put a tight stop on it, see if you like it. I think there's better picks in the database than this. But look, something I just noticed here, RT relative timing, 0.97. If you haven't bought it yet, I'd wait for RT to go back above 1. Just to let me know that the trend is back in my favor. Simple as that. Earnings per share forecasted data on the rise. Yeah, I like what I see here. It's been great. Here we go. We got Power Solutions. Let me get rid of value. Whew, big down day today. Let's see here. Is there earnings? No earnings. It's got to be some news with this stock. It was at $25. Now it's at $18.30. I don't know who recommended this. Ryan, small cap thought. Hey, Furby. Who gave me PSIX? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you bought this stock, I don't know, let's just say less than $10 or even less than that, and you've got a couple bags in it, take some off the table, protect your money. That's a huge drop from 25 to 18. We can see, just keep things simple here. As far as a kind of a trend line. Yeah, not too much of a trend line here. But that being said, and look at RT. it just went back to 1.01. That's a huge drop here. Yeah, that's way too volatile for me. And if you're in it, protect profits. RT is at 1.9. I mean, this stock, $2 back in April. Now it's at 25, right? Don't be too greedy. If you were in this stock more than a couple months ago, take some off the table, right? Protect it, because we just had a big drop today. Here's SMCI. We've talked about this. If you're thinking about doing bottom fishing on SMCI, I know everyone's talking about it. I broke its downward trend line, right? I do like that. If I'm in it, and if I did some bottom fishing, essentially, I'm going to take the prior low right here, around $39. Yeah, about 39 bucks. Right now it's at 45. We're just above our stop price. That's why you're getting holds here. Not a whole lot of momentum to the upside right now. It's kind of just, moving to the side. Again, if you're going to bottom fish in it, you can either wait for the RT to get back above 1 for confirmation. Otherwise, if you are going to get it sooner, just use this as a stop, or you can use our VectorVest stop, which is pretty tight. It's right, 45, 55, only 10 cents away. You might, depending on where you buy it at, you might want to get a little bit more wiggle room. But if you've been holding it, you've got to cut your losses somewhere. I mean, the first sell recommendation, this stock was trading much higher here. First sell recommendation, it closed at $71, right? Now it's down to 45. And this was before the split, obviously. This data is after the split. But if we look at the earnings per share, it's on the rise. And if I look at any of the forecasted data here, and the real reason why anyone should get excited or put this on their radar as far as bottom fishing is the valuation. Look at the valuation here. Valuation is at $96. But I do know that they have a Hindenburg report, an investigation under them. So whatever you do, pay attention to the news, because if the investigation, if they find out that there's nothing wrong, the stock's probably going to soar. But however, if these allegations become true, I don't know where the damage is gonna stop. So we'll see. Here we've got Tesla. They've got earnings tonight. I'm not going to talk about this too much. We're doing a whole video on this today. But as far as Tesla, way overvalued. We only value the stock at $43. RT at 0.81. Does have positive earnings per share. But look, the forecasted EPS on the decline quite a bit. Relative timing below 1 for the most part. Overvalued. I can't get behind Tesla. If we look at the stock itself, price action, $215 right now. A year ago, it was at $212, so it hasn't really done anything in a year. So unless I'm going to swing trade it, maybe using like a 3 and 8 or some kind of swing trading strategy to play the volatility, I can't get behind it for a long-term play. At least at this time. At this time, if you've been watching my video, you know my opinion. Way overvalued as a car company. They really have to come forth with some of their other technological advances. The robo taxis, the robots, the stuff that investors have been waiting on. That Elon. He's been talking about this for years now, some of these projects. So, definitely tune in for the live stream. Here we've got Snowflake. Snowflake, I can't get behind it. I mean, it's just hitting low after low. I mean, we do see some consolidation here. Let's go to 6 months. We do see consolidation here, a little bit of a channel. Boom, boom. And it looks like price action broke out. Now it's going back into the channel. Can't get into it. Way overvalued as a company. Earnings per share dropped over the last 6 months. RT not favorable. I can't get behind it. Back here, maybe you see some buy ratings coming in, but since then the sales dominate the recommendation board here. No buys as of late, so I can't get behind Snow. I know they've got big projects. Their software, they IPO not too long ago, so they had a lot of hype behind them, but it looks like the hype's kind of faded away, obviously. You see the stock price there. Here we've got Adobe. Let's go to 6 months. Oh, let's go to a year. I don't really like how that looks. I don't like how that looks either. Adobe, it is very gappy on it. Look at every earnings is a huge gap. Up, down, up, down. Yeah, I can't get behind it. Can't behind it. It looks like it's about to hit a new low here. Let's see here. Boom. Yeah, looks like it's about to hit a new swing low. Down day to day. RT's below 1. EPS, the forecasted data is on the rise. And the stock is undervalued. So if you're more of a long-term investor, maybe put Adobe on your radar because it's undervalued. Forecasted data is rising. But right now, with approaching this level at 486, if we break that, I mean, better buying opportunities will probably present themselves. Let's be honest. All right, let's go to the last stock. What time is it? 12:25. We're going to have to wrap it up after this one. We got Elf Beauty. We talked about this quite a bit. Let's go to a one-year chart. Now, Elf was a hot stock. You can see it right here. Very, very hot. And this is what I talk about value. See how value is not flat here? Value is on the rise. Price action's on the rise, right? Now, if you missed the Elf train and you missed all this upside momentum and, FOMO, all that good stuff, ETF TSLQ. Yeah, Janice put that in there. Mac Daddy, it's going to be, yeah, TSLQ. That's going to be I think Glenn might still be holding that. I'm not sure. I've talked to Glenn. But look, I'm not going to say go buy this. You see the momentum to the downside here, right? But look, finally, the stock is becoming more attractive from a valuation standpoint, right? I'm not going to speculate whether or not the sell-off is over. Pretty close to it. We're only $5 away from the prior low. Elf, have some patience. If you're in it, you got to stop the bleeding somewhere. I don't know where you bought it, but if it finds a new low, I'm probably going to stop it there. As far as a buying opportunity, I'm not really seeing one present itself exactly. I mean, if you use a trend line, yeah, we saw a rejection right at this trend line. I would probably use this trend line here to maybe start nibbling at it. Price action gets above this trend line. We saw a rejection here just 3 days ago. So probably, not going to happen, relatively soon, maybe within the next week or two. But if ELF becomes undervalued and breaks that downward trend line with rising forecasts, we all know about ELF, it's got great forecasted data. That might just be a great opportunity in the near future. I'm going to have to write that down. Again, not a buyer today, but I think an opportunity might be presenting itself. What a nice double top and drop. Yeah, that double top right there. I do see that. That played out nicely. Yeah, that's, let's see here, horizontal. Yeah, John, I see that double. But yeah, as of right now, I can't get behind it. But honestly, I think this will be there's just so much hype behind the ELF stock. I mean, that's why you could tell investors were willing to just pay a premium on it. But the valuation has risen quite a bit. I like it. I'd put this one on your watch list, see what happens. But if it becomes undervalued and breaks that downward trend line, I'd imagine I might be nibbling at it myself. All right, let's take us out of here. Let's see. There we go. All right, everybody. Now, just as a reminder, because I mentioned in the beginning, if you're new, if this is your first time watching one of these VectorVest live streams, go to VectorVest.com/FSA. Free stock analysis. If you just go to our website, you'll see it at the top of the page. You get 3 in a day. I think like 5 or 6 maximum. But you can print out that sheet. It's got all of our definitions here. Otherwise, if you're already a subscriber to the VectorVest 7 software, like I say, just right-click on any stock that you see in the database. Go to View Stock Analysis Report. That'll give you all of the definitions. That's really the key, to homing in and, effectively utilizing the software to the best of its ability to make money. Now, just as an update, at 2 p.m., if you want to join us again, we got me and Glenn afternoon market action. And then later this afternoon, we've got the Tesla live earnings call. So make sure you join around. If it's your first time, you enjoyed today's content, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys again soon. Take care.